RAYE is one of the biggest stars from Britain right now, and her latest album, This Music May Contain Hope, is her most commercially successful work yet. There's a lot of talent on display here. Her voice is outstanding and powerful with a strong Amy Winehouse influence. She also has the aspiration to go all out and experiment with different genres, but honestly, if there's one thing that holds this album back, it is that it gets cheesy and corny far more often than I would like. There are a lot of tracks on this album, so I will just go over the ones that stood out to me, for better or for worse. I Hate the Way I Look is the song that a lot of people seems like they either love it or hate it. There's no in between, and in my opinion, I wouldn't say I love it a whole lot, but I do like it. I can see why the extremely over the top, overly exaggerated upbeat sound of the song can be annoying and too ridiculous to take seriously for some people, but to me, it's a fun sounding vocal jazz jam that disguises its depressing lyrical exploration of physical insecurities in an enjoyable theatrical fashion. Yeah, there are some parts of the instrumentation that I find to be sort of by the numbers for the theatrical style of vocal jazz, but RAYE's passionate and enthusiastic vocal performance makes up for it. There are also moments on the album where she breaks the fourth wall, singing about what the song is about. This is fine for a little while, but becomes pretty irritating the more she does it. The moments where it gets the most obnoxious is the closing track, which has her reading out the album's credits on top of that, making it easily my least favorite song. All the people who worked on the album I can look up with a single Google search. Even with this track where she reads the liner notes herself, I'd still much rather read through the credits myself than listening to this closing track. Even in the opening song she said, "Cue the thunder," with a sound effect of a thunderstorm coming right after. Just play the sound. You don't need to state what's about to happen. This track plays out like the introduction to a theatre play, and there are more spoken word bits on the album to form this theatrical narrative concept that runs throughout the entire project. But wow, some of the spoken word bits make me cringe too. If reading the song title, "Beware the South London Lover Boy," didn't make me cringe enough, hearing her say it in this theatre narrator voice made me want to skip the entire song immediately. I'd rather hear Drake say "Certified Lover Boy" in a zesty voice on repeat. But even when she's singing, not even talking, she brings out some pretty terrible lines, like on Winter Women where she says, "Her heart is blue, dress is red, your text is green and left unread. Yeah, just like roses, violets are blue." There's also the song "I Know You're Hurting," which is meant to be the sad emotional moment, but lines like "I know life can be a bitch, some call a Monday" just straight up ruin the sorrowful feelings that the song was trying to go for. I come away from the song feeling sad due to the lyrics, but not in the way the song was intended. Rather than being sad about the emotional intensity, I was actually sad about how disappointing some of these lyrics are. I appreciate the subject matter of the track, as it feels like RAYE is speaking directly to the listener, empathizing with their pain while reminding them that better days are ahead. However, again, the subject matter could have been executed with better lyrics. I could also say this exact same critique about Lifeboat, which tries to spread this message of not giving up through tediously repetitive lyrics. I understand that it is a house cut, so having repetitive lyrics is to be expected from this genre, but this creates another problem, as it is a completely different sound from every other track on the album, to the point where I just can't understand the point of its inclusion. It has a decent tune, but the vibe and energy just don't belong on this track list. There is also a serious lack of standout choruses on the album. Where Is My Husband really raised my expectations of the tunes we were going to hear, but unfortunately a lot of them are either just okay or really boringly forgettable. To name one example, I Will Overcome is a bit too overly dramatic for my taste, even if her vocals are of course outstanding. This Music May Contain Hope overall makes me feel like I'm watching an overly dramatic musical rather than listening to an actual album, which is of course intentional with the amount of narration scattered across this thing and the instrumentation being cinematic and theatrical. Click Clack Symphony ends with cinematic strings that legitimately sounds like a musical score to an intense scene from a Christopher Nolan movie. However, you can execute this concept without being this corny, and it didn't need to feature so many moments that caused me to roll my eyes more often than I'd like, because if this really was the intention to make the album feel like a musical play, it doesn't feel like watching a high budget budget theatre production that I come away stunned by. It feels more like watching a GCSE drama play. But hey, I don't think the album is that bad overall. Honestly, there are some great highlights, like Where's My Husband, which has an incredibly glamorous chorus attached to it. No wonder it became such a massive hit. The exploration of RAYE's personal relationship with her grandpa on Fields is genuinely sentimental and beautiful too. Nightingale Lane is a track that is both gorgeously relaxing and soaring. The emotion poured into the song genuinely hits hard for me, and I wish there were more tracks like this on the album. I love how they didn't overdo it on the production side of things, yet the song still feels progressive in a way that doesn't undermine its emotional intensity. The instrumental features slow moving drums with elegant touches of piano keys, and when the chorus comes in, her voice is already powerful enough that it doesn't need dramatic layers of instruments behind it like some of the other tracks annoyingly do. It just needs soaring strings and a backing choir. Then Skin and Bones successfully hits all the targets that Where's My Husband did, while also featuring what is possibly the most flavorful instrumental on the album. But still, I do wish RAYE would tone things down on This Music May Contain Hope. She's doing too much. Please like and subscribe.